Welcome to the Invest In Podcast, the show where we help you learn how to make more money through real estate and other passive investments. We're your hosts, Zach Hoyt and Eric Richner, entrepreneurs, investors, and the guys behind Maverick Asher Capital. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just getting started, buckle up because we're taking you on a journey to help you achieve the lifestyle of your dreams.
Now let's hit the road.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Invest In Podcast, where we uncover tons of ways to achieve the life of your dreams through investing, RV parks, and, of course, mindset. I'm your host, Zach Hoyt, and today's episode is absolutely a must-listen for any RV park owner that's trying to scale and maximize their profits without having to hire a dozen employees and all that chaos. And then also, if you're potentially a passive investor in RV parks, you'll just get to continually learn more of the nitty-gritty details that are super critical to operating these RV parks at a real high level to maximize those investor returns. But of course, you won't have to do them because you're just happy and passive. That's the beauty. So today, we're talking with Kevin Jones, who's built this system around what he calls ops as a service, right? It's a way to run RV parks that is lean, efficient, while also staying compliant and seriously boosting those profits without getting bogged down in payroll, HR headaches. Oh my gosh, all that nonsense. Kevin, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks, Zach. Yeah, excited to dig into this. I mean, this is really a game changer once you see the model.
Love it.
So just want to jump right in. So the RV parks, are mostly mom and pop operations. They're pretty small. A lot of them are, between 50 to 70 pads, and that's about where they stall out. And why do they stall out? It's staffing, because if you try to expand beyond that, you need to hire more people. You need more cleaners, more reception help, maintenance staff. You run into issues in rural areas because it's hard to find reliable workers, and your profits just start shrinking, okay? Because you got to hire more people, so you get more payroll. So you go from being an investor to being like a full-time manager, and all your money and profits is going away to staff. So give you an example of how staffing actually gets in the way of scaling. Let's say that you're running like 60 pads and you want to expand to 100. It's a great idea. You got more pads and more revenue. But as I said, you got all these new staffs you got to hire. The front desk, cleaner, maintenance. You're dealing with HR, tax filings, workers' comp. All that stuff is just going to eat away your profits.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's basically you're going to get bogged down with all this work and hiring people and then handling all of them, or just doing it all yourself. And that's basically, those are the owners that we're buying it from. The ones that are these, one-man show or a husband and wife show and everything that takes up their life. And so they can operate one park really well, but they really can't scale past that. There's like a ceiling that they get to. So what do you do in this situation? You need workers. How do we handle that?
Yeah, so this is where a lot of RV park owners get burned. So they hire work campers, which is a pretty common thing. But they're not aware of the FLSA, which is the Fair Labor Standard Act. It defines who counts as an employee, and it's pretty strict. So currently, a lot of the owners will think, well, I'll just get a work camper or volunteer, and they'll help out in exchange for a free pad, maybe a little bit of money, but they're not really an employee. But if they clean, restock, even do guest services, pretty much anything that you would normally pay someone for, it counts as labor, and they're an employee. So now you got to give them payroll taxes and all this other stuff that goes along with an actual employee. And if something goes wrong and you're not treating them like an employee, well, you're liable for back pay, penalties, and even lawsuits. So work campers, volunteers are great, but you got to do it correctly.
Yeah, volunteers. It'd be nice to have lots of volunteers for things. Work campers. I feel like people don't know, or at least there's plenty of listeners that wouldn't know what a work camper is, how they're found, what is this thing, why does it even exist? Can you help just explain that a little bit?
So work campers is I would say more a community of people There's Facebook groups. There's all sorts of different ways to find work campers online, and they own their RVs 99.9% of the time. They have their own van or RV. They'll travel around. A lot of them are retirees, but some are just families, and they just want to move around from park to park to different areas and do some work in exchange for a free pad and sometimes a little bit of cash. They're mostly wanting to travel, and they have skills, usually husband and wife teams. So like one will do like office work, the other one will do maintenance work or something. So it's a great benefit to parks because they get basically cheap labor, but you got to do it right or else you'll run into the traps.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, that makes sense. We've got husband and wives, little families, whatever that is, that want to bop around. They're having fun and they're figuring out how can we go from place to place and not have to minimize their costs. They don't mind doing some labor or stuff. They're actually very experienced at RV parks because they've gone to a bunch of them. So they might even have some good things that they see at other places too. And then, of course, the RV park owners, yeah, we're always looking to make things as lean as possible. And if you guys, anyone that's listening, you've ever had employees, you know that there's employee turnover. Regardless of this, it's just like they are going to turn over. So I guess part of a good business plan is just always structuring it so it doesn't matter hiring and firing, whatever that entails. How many ways can we solve this issue of we need things to be done around the park? Let's do it in the best way possible. But then, and what is the best way? It's staying compliant. Don't want to break any rules. Of course, we'd love to get it as cheap as possible. Man, if it could make us money, that'd be even better. But as cheap as possible is something. But so, Kevin, what's the right way just to structure this, especially when we're trying to offer them a free pad? Because I know that giving these work campers a free spot to stay on is one of the main benefits that they look at.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the best way that I found to do it is use a 1099 agreement. It's a clear and legal document built around flexibility. So in that document, it's a contract. You'll basically define the tasks. It'll be light cleaning, retail, delivery, basic landscaping, whatever it is. You just define it in the 1099 agreement. You list the RV pad and the utilities and anything else like renting out equipment. All that is compensation. So it's as if you're paying them, but it's nothing out of your pocket. The pad you're not paying for, but you get to charge the full price of what you would rent the pad for, the fair market value, as if you were paying them. So you get to reduce that as an expense. You let them control their own schedule, and you just report the full value on the 1099 NEC. And like as I said, the cost to you is like whatever electricity and water is, maybe $5 a day per pad. So you're really getting off really well on that because you don't have to pay employee taxes, the insurance, none of that. It's just a clear little contract. You have a start and an end date, and when they do it, done.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that working. I heard some of the things that you were putting down there. So we only have to pay for the cost of the pad, which is where it's paid for, but the utilities on the pad, which is probably about $5 a day. That's fine. So we're not really losing money other than the potential of someone coming in and renting that. But you said we're able to recoup the cost of that basically on our taxes because we're we're giving them the full value on their 1099. Is they're saying you're
Right.
receiving the full value of this pad, so we're able to write that off on things. So we're capturing that value and we're not just losing it, which might be like, hey, we give you the pad, we don't do it like this, we could be losing that value, but
Right.
now we're going to actually recoup that in taxes.
Yeah.
So
So you
that's
write it off as an expense, and then it's taken off your profit. So yeah, you're not paying the taxes on it. So you save money in taxes. Exactly.
yeah, super helpful. Cool. All right. So yeah, do you have some type of template or an example that some of these RV park owners could use?
Yeah, we've put together templates, free download of our exact 1099 agreement. It's editable, uses the right fair market value language and pad rent utilities. All that'll be we can put that in a link in the description so that people can get to that and download it.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. So everyone that's listening, that's going to be a real good one. I'll recap it at the end, but yeah, check the description for that. Always great when we're giving away content to people. Useful
And
stuff.
and I want to also add on to that. So a lot of occupancy in the campground industry is seasonal. So you'll have like the summer season, and then you have the shoulders on the side, and then you'll have the winter season where you got a lot of just low occupancy. There's a lot of available pads, and a lot of owners just let that go to waste. But a lot of the work campers have construction skills and
Mm.
looking for work in the winter. So what you do is you hire those work campers during the slow season, get them as 1099s. You have them knock out repairs, any upgrades, any maintenance you need done throughout the park. And not only are you boosting your occupancy by having them there, but you're also eroding those profits through that uh, uh, fair market value, the money, the compensation you're giving them. So you're lowering your taxable income. So it's a
Heck
win-win.
yeah. Yeah, that's huge. Off-season, passive investors might not understand this quite as much as active RV park owners, but having the seasonality of things, it's huge. And some RV park owners, they'll just close down for winter, essentially. They just won't even advertise. Some of the above the Mason Dixon line where it might freeze, of course, people have to worry about blowing out their water pipes and literally shutting down their pads in the winter. That's a possibility if they haven't done things properly to insulate them and, depending on their situation. But of course, it's an awesome time when it's a downtime and it's not your high season. It's an awesome time to do just like Kevin said and get all these things done, these repairs, these upgrades, the maintenance. You don't want to have big machinery, loud noises when your park is full and everyone is having a good time because your ratings will just tank. So you got to plan accordingly. But gosh, so you're spitting out a lot of money in the off season, and you're not making a lot of money in that off season. So this is a great strategy of getting these work campers in there, not only just using their skills and their labor to achieve what you need, but also to be able to reap the what you would be getting from the income. You can put it on your taxes as an expense, and so your whole pro forma for the year and everything is looking a heck of a lot better. It's all affecting your bottom line. It's very strategic every season, everything that we do in RV parks if you're really operating at a high level. So love that, Kevin. Thank you.
Sure.
So what else?
So I hit that first because that's a big part of the whole concept. But getting out to the core concept of ops as a service, we need to really change our mindset. Because the big shift is this: like, you do not need full time staff. You
Mm,
just need the right contractors and the right systems to take over everything. So, for example, your turnovers are handled per cleaning. Not on a payroll. You don't need to hire a full time person to clean cabins or whatever. You can get work campers to do that, or you can hire a third party service. Just do it when it's needed. Of course, we went over camp workers. You structure those as 1099s. They can also do landscaping, or you can hire a third party landscaping service. You don't need your full time maintenance people doing this. Just hire it when it needs to be done. Trash and septic pickups. You can have those triggered by sensors. Um, then to get into the technology side, guest questions are handled through an app or like a virtual concierge. Uh, a lot of the questions that are asked in RV parks are the same questions over and over again. So if you can put this online through an app, or you have some sort of documentation of an FAQ where guests can just find it and get their questions answered, well, that eliminates the time needed of your front desk. So now you free up that time. Build SOPs. So all these things that you need your work campers to do, you build an SOP and reuse them forever. That it shows the work camper exactly what to do, what's the right way to do it. You can hold them accountable for, did you do this right or not do it right? You don't have to keep training people over and over again. You just give them the SOP. It's a big time saver, and it just makes everything work together when you actually lay out an SOP.
Man, these SOPs, these SOPs sound amazing. What is an SOP, man?
Yeah, I forget. So military, we use TLAs all the time, or 3-letter acronyms. So an SOP is a standard operating procedure. Okay, so it's just a document that lays out exactly how to do something. Okay, it's very simple. It um, shouldn't be complex. It's just like, hey, step by step, here's how you do something.
Yeah, yeah. And so in engineering, we had these all the time. It was a little more complex tasks that we were doing, but we definitely have to break it down into simple, extremely repeatable type of language and tasks. And so I mean, we were building the world's most powerful laser system that I was a part of. And so you can imagine that things have to be absolutely critical every time, repeatable. And when there's an issue, you can address it and then you fix it and you can test that fix to see if it's repeatable. So that's something that's like huge and all of that. The military has the same type of things, but I mean, so does McDonald's. Everybody knows McDonald's. How are they the same darn thing everywhere? It's because they have these standard operating procedures. This is how you make a Big Mac. This is how fast we need something to happen. They have different metrics and they test all of those things. And so yeah, standard operating procedures. You have to have those for an RV park for any business if you really want to operate at a high level. Otherwise, you're willy nilly. One employee, not even employee, but one person doing the task isn't going to do it exactly the same way as another person that's doing it. And then over time, those things can just naturally change, and they can change in a good way, sure, but they could change in a bad way too, and you could just lose the grip on your business. And even worse, when you've got turnover of employees, or in this case, we're talking about these work campers that are coming in with some frequency and leaving. Like, how is that continuity maintained? You got to get someone quickly up to speed. You got to make sure that they're doing something exactly to the way that you want it, and then you can have someone check that someone is following that procedure in the right way. And that's how you can put some accountability on everything too. So yeah. And real quick question, Kevin, do you have any idea what the typical time frame these work campers will stay at one location before they start bopping from to the next one? Do they ever come back to your location? Is it seasonal? Like, give some insight into that if you could.
Sure. So it varies a little bit, but it's typically 1 to 3 months is what they're looking for. You don't find too many people that are looking for very short term. That you typically want to stay in one place for at least a month. Up to 3 is the standard. You'll get other people that might want to stay a little bit longer, like maybe 6 months. Very, very few people would want to stay for like a full year or longer. As far as coming back, it really depends on your park. I mean, if they like it, they'll come back. And the biggest problem that work campers have is the manager. If they don't like the manager, they will let the community know all about your manager and how bad they were, and what a nightmare they were to work for. So they talk to each other, and they tell each other which one is the best camp to go to. And if they find a good one, then they'll fight for it. They'll want to go back to it. So just make sure it's a good experience for everyone. And part of that is the SOPs, having a clear understanding of what needs to be done. Holding them accountable. Just working well with the work cameras. It is a relationship you want to foster, and you want to bring in the best people. So bringing a good environment for them is how you maintain that beneficial relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's real important and good balance. So, all right, yeah, 1 to 3 months. So, obviously, if it's on the shorter side of that, these SOPs, just to underscore it, they definitely have to be clear. They've got to be simple, easy. You can't have a ramping up period of a couple weeks to get up to speed so that they're efficient when they're going to leave a couple weeks later, right? So, okay. Okay, yeah. So that frames that. So with that in mind, like what are some of the common tasks that park owners could outsource right now to people, and what are some of those roles where you wouldn't want a work camper to be there, and you would have to have like some roles that we definitely need to have an employee, or it's at least much more critical. Like, what's that balance of those two different types?
So the camp store is a big one. Some parks don't even have camp stores. Some have a whole space dedicated to one where you need an attendant there to maintain sales. but you just replace it with vending machines and an app-based online store. So there's campground applications that not only will have like an online store with it, but it has a lot of other features, from booking to finding your spot, scavenger hunts, FAQs, lots of stuff. I highly recommend getting one for your park. But the store being online, it helps eliminate theft. It simplifies your inventory, and it removes that need to having the clerk standing behind the counter all day. You just put all your inventory in a locked space, and when people order online, your manager or whoever will access the inventory and either deliver it to the pad as a concierge service or have it ready at the desk. They can come pick it up at a certain time. Cleaning cabins and light maintenance, landscaping can also be handled by independent contractors or camp workers, as long as you structure it correctly. And one important detail I want to make sure everyone knows about the 1099s is that they're supposed to use their own equipment. Okay, so if a work camper is mowing the grass, they can't just hop on your zero turn lawnmower unless you structure it legally. So what that just means is you need to rent that equipment out and make it available to anybody to rent. But you can rent that out to the camp worker and use that as the part of the compensation. So they don't have to actually exchange any money to you to rent it, but you take the fair market value of renting that lawnmower and you add that in as part of the 1099 compensation. And now they're renting, your lawnmower to mow your grass. So it just, helps out with taxes as well. But you want to make sure you're keeping it legal with the 1099s. They need to use their own equipment or rent your equipment.
Yeah, yeah. So those are important things that you're dropping there, because I know, as I've done a bunch of houses in the past, renovated a bunch of houses, I've dealt with a lot of contractors, and I've dealt with general contractors and 1099 or employee types. That boundary is. It sounds all great at first, except when you can't just call everyone a 1099 employee when you tell them, for instance, when to show up, what materials to use, your own equipment that you provide for them, just so many different things. There's like actually a hit list of, if you're doing 5 of these 10 things, then and there's a workers' comp claim, then workers' comp will end up saying like, even though this wasn't an employee, they got hurt there. They really were acting as an employee. So I think that's the liability that you're trying to absolutely run around. Like, you don't want to go anywhere near that reliability. And renting your own equipment to them, that's something that we don't see very often at all. I don't see that in the contracting world. And for an RV park, yeah, this is not a common thing when we're taking over RV parks. It's something that we do, but it's not something that most RV parks do. And what you're showing here is that not only could they, but they should, for all these different reasons, protects everything, and hey, it helps the bottom line at the same time. So awesome. All right. So what do we need to actually pull this whole thing off, right? Get this, put a pretty bow on it. How does someone do this?
So to run this model, you need 3 really important things. We talked about the SOPs, or the standard operating procedures, so that everyone knows what right looks like. What is the correct way of doing everything? Real simple, clear, and laid out. So the SOPs, very important. Then you need an integrated app. So there's stuff online. I don't want to promote one over the other, but there's different apps you can get for your park. So the apps will tie into your booking system in your park, but there's a lot of things that it does tie into down to the space. So when someone books a space, the apps will not only lead them to where they'll drive them to their exact spot, but also has your park rules, your FAQs, the camp store, uh, there's scavenger hunts on most of them. So there's a lot of things that it ties into.
Yeah. So, okay. So basically you don't want just any old app. You want a smart app that really ties into your property management system, all of your different bookings, your ins, your outs, what's happening in the local community, maybe events that you have going on. I heard you even say scavenger hunt. Sounds like there's some funky stuff that you can really do.
Oh yeah,
And
local events, like there's lots of different things between the different apps. So it really does open up things that really guests are not used to seeing. So by adding these things, you're kind of setting yourself apart from the other older campgrounds that refuse to move forward into the new age of technology. And people today, they love making things easy, and technology just catching up. They want the new thing. They don't always want these old campgrounds. So integrated app will definitely set you apart and help out your business. And then the third thing you need to pull all this off is accountability tools. So daily checklist, cloud cameras, gig-based spot inspections, those SOPs. You want to be able to have some sort of accountability to make sure that your camp workers are doing the job and doing it right. If you're not keeping people honest, then they're going to let it slide. Because if nobody's checking your work, then why are you doing your best? So
yeah,
you need those
yeah.
accountability tools to kind of tie everything together.
And that's so important. I mean, you anyone that's listening, I'm sure you've seen it before. When someone starts out doing something, they're trying really hard, and part of the reason they're trying really hard is because if you're paying them, you're looking really hard in the beginning, and you're judging them, and you're making sure that they're doing things right. But then, of course, as time slides, whatever the day, they could have a good day, they could have a bad day. For whatever reason, they just decide, no one's looking. What do I care? Like, I'll just, catch it next time around. Like, if I'm cleaning, it's like, oh, I'll just clean it the next time a little bit better here, or, whatever the case may be. Things slide, and that's something that absolutely cannot happen. That's a really slippery slope. Or even like, oh, hey, I'll be gone in a week, so they're not even going to see it. It's going to look great from my new pad, 1,000 miles away from here. So yeah, having those accountability tools are absolutely awesome. Do you know the app that you're talking about? Some of these apps, can these things be integrated into that, or how can these checklists, and you mentioned camera and gig based spot inspections, how
Yeah,
are all these things managed digitally?
sure. So I know of two in particular. They have the features where you can take pictures through the app and send it up to to the cloud, basically, so that the owner can see them. So even customers, if they see something that is broken or is dirty or whatever, let's like go into the bathroom, like, oh, there's a dirty bathroom here. Well, they can take a picture of that and send it to you. So now you are being made aware of issues without having to scour the camp and do inspections all the time. The customers will let you know, and you can use the same stuff for your gig based stuff. Your camp workers, they can take pictures of the work that they've done and send it to you so that you can see what they're accomplishing in their work, and all that can be a part of the app. So it's really an integral part of this whole thing is to get that app going so that you're reducing the time that you need to spend one-on-one with customers, with camp workers, just all around. You're just reducing time, which is going to save you money.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And a lot of the people that are staying there, the guests, I imagine they don't really want to have their time interrupted by anyone for the most part. They're there for themselves and their families and their memories. They don't want these things. So making it easy is super important. I know that for my property management, we have for single family homes, when I was handling all of those, like what we do is there's an app for that as well. And we can add maintenance tickets. The tenants can add maintenance tickets, things that they see, they can put the pictures in there, and it's amazing. And even our part of our SOP is whenever there's a complaint that comes in through, hey, this thing is leaking. or there's water that's here. It's like, okay, can you show me? Like, don't just tell me, because a lot of times tenants don't know what the heck they're looking at. A lot of people, if they're not skilled in something, they don't know what they're looking at. I have x-ray vision in a house, but when it comes to looking at a vehicle, for me, it kind of all looks like Play-Doh, and it either works or it doesn't work. It's an oversimplification. I can see some things in cars, but for the most part, I can't. So like, being able to see these things is so critical, and then being able to follow up with maintenance tickets on them, it's great. And then the people that are submitting it, they can actually see that something is happening from that, and it's real good feedback to show them, like, hey, we're addressing the problem, this is how quickly we're doing it, we're very efficient in everything. So not only just having lots of eyes and ears out there, but it goes a long way for a customer complaint, or just to see that someone is very responsive and all of that. So,
oh yeah, I mean, a customer trying to complain about something, they go to the head office and there's nobody there. Oh, you want to make someone mad?
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, they'll find the Google review real quick if they can't get someone at the office for something. Yeah. So speaking of that, so these are all some of the things we talked about that people can do as camp workers. What things shouldn't you hire out as a camp worker? Like, maybe you mentioned a manager.
Yeah, so they definitely should not have anything to do with managing other people. Anything
Yeah.
with dealing with collecting money or doing the books or anything like that. Any kind of like management type position, they need to stay clear of. There's going to be no bleed over in any of that. That'll get you in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. In trouble. And yeah, from a lot of different ways in trouble, because you never know how someone's going to lead. And yeah, you definitely need a real important, strong leadership there. And yeah, don't let them touch the money. Make sure that it is definitely segmented from all of that. Well, cool. Any other last little pieces of advice with this?
I think we covered just about everything, but I would say, don't be afraid to look into new technology, new ways of doing things. Reach out to other, camp owners that are doing new things, and learn from their experiences. So there's lots of new things that we're doing that we're not seeing anyone else do, that they should be, and we're going to get that word out, and we're going to teach these other owners the better way of doing things. And they'll teach us some stuff, I'm sure, but just learn from each other, and try to move forward in technology so that everyone can benefit from it.
Yeah, no, that's a great final takeaway. Absolutely. Because, yeah, everything is changing real fast with technology, with AI, robotics, and gosh, the next 5 years. Yeah, watch out for all of that. So that's one reason we've got a Facebook community that we curate just for RV park owners, investors, anyone that's interested in the space. Tons of people that are in there, and then a monthly virtual meetup so that we can all get together, share some best practices, learn from some experts in the field, and just meet other people to make friends and get that community of owners, so that it is an open playbook. I know Kevin and I have a very abundant mindset where we love sharing things with other people. There's plenty out there for everyone. And so we want to share. And we're doing so many different things that are above and beyond what most people do. The thing is, like, good luck to the next person, like stealing everything. Good luck. I mean, implementing everything that we do. I wish you absolutely the best. I want everything to be elevated, because when everything is elevated, the whole asset class gets better, gets a better reputation, and we just continue to evolve into a stronger state. So yeah, really awesome. I'm glad you mentioned all of those things, Kevin. Wow. It's such a great breakdown. Absolutely loved it. Kevin, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing this playbook. That was amazing. So if you're listening and you're thinking, this could just save me hundreds of thousands of dollars and not having to employ employees and on my taxes, well, you're right. And then if you want to grab this free 1099 agreement and set up a consultant call with Kevin, the link is going to be in the description, and it's also at www.rvparkconsultant.com. Awesome stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Just real quick recap. We talked about how RV park owners, you can save hundreds of $1,000s on payroll and taxes. And all those savings can directly benefit any passive investor in your bank accounts as well. So look for operators that are employing these types of tactics, because it's not minimal, it's maximal maximal that you're getting, and this is just scratching the surface. There's so many awesome techniques that we end up employing at our locations that our passive investors thank us for. And so if you are a passive investor, you're just getting also to see a little clearer all those intricacies that it takes to operate an RV park as profitably as possible. If these topics interest you and you want to learn more, stay in touch. Look in the show notes to become an official Invest In Insider and continue your journey with us. And if you want to chat with me directly about investments and learn how you can invest in this awesome asset class of RV parks, well, you're in luck. You'll see a link in the show notes where you can schedule a one-on-one discovery call with me and Maverick Asher Capital, the fund behind all the fun RV park tech-centric things that we are doing. Next level stuff. So make sure to join us next time for more ways to invest in your mind, your life, and your bank account. Be well, everyone. That's a wrap for this episode of the Invest In podcast. We hope you gained valuable insights to fuel your investment journey.
If you found this episode helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Your support helps us bring more insider knowledge from the top real estate and investment minds.
And if you're ready to take your investments to the next level, follow us on social media at Go Invest In on Instagram, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere for more expert tips, behind-the-scenes content, and exclusive updates.
Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep investing, keep building, and we'll see you on the road.